How do you see the current state of the industry broadly and in this region in particular? And why is an event like this so important to discuss the challenges and the opportunities that are out there?
Well, the state of the industry is the one we know. Unfortunately, it's not as good as we would wish it to be. We've seen that in 2015 compared to last year, a bit to my surprise actually, we're a bit down. And that's for the whole European continent. In general, however, in the world, we're following a little bit the European example. It's not doing absolutely great. In some emerging markets like Brazil and China, and in particular in Russia, as we all know, the situation is even more difficult. So overall, it's going to be a transitional year, 2015, with unfortunately, I guess, a little minus before the number. Why is it important to be here today? I think it's, as a convinced European, I've never really looked at Europe as being split in two. But actually, there are differences between Central and Eastern Europe and Western Europe. And you cannot claim to know this continent if you don't take that into account, really.
How do you see those differences? What for you are the most important ones?
Well, the funny thing is, during the recession in Western Europe, Eastern Europe was the locomotive, was the engine of growth. And you would look at the numbers, and especially during the 2008 to 2014, you would see that there were double-digit growth in big Central and Eastern European markets, such as Poland, Czech Republic, mostly, Ukraine as well. And the funny thing is now that you have sort of a recovery in Western Europe, things are looking a bit more, let's say, they look like a quagmire a little bit in Eastern Europe. So it looks like the fate of both Western and Eastern Europe are crisscrossing each other.
So it's important to be here talking about why that is happening and what needs to be done by the industry, because we've heard a lot about potential. Do you believe this region has a lot of potential? And do you have, can you identify priorities to make the most of that potential?
Well, first of all, it's important to be here because we need to understand what's going on here. So it's good to be able to talk to people who are, local people who understand the industry, who have the possibility to look at it from a certain distance and perspective. And that's what it's made for. Also, as you say, it's important to then project yourself and try to see where the sector is going to, or how it is going to fare in the region in the coming 5 to 10 years. I think in terms of potential, everything is there for this to continue to be the engine of growth. So once the Crimean, Ukrainian, Russian situation has stalled somehow or has subsided, you would expect business aviation to then go back to where it used to be only a few years ago.
So you need to be ready for the upswing when it comes, when hopefully the situation calms down.
Well, sure. I mean, today the traffic in Eastern Europe is less than 10% of the total traffic in Europe. And I don't think it's a correct picture. It should be at least twice as much. So we're going to get there. It's going to take some time, but we need to understand how we can make it happen.